record high sticker prices, record low resale values. The gap between what Americans pay for pickup trucks and what those vehicles are worth just years later has never been wider. Today's $50,000 investment is becoming tomorrow's financial catastrophe. Right now, across America, 8 specific pickup truck models have become virtually impossible to sell at any price. Trucks that commanded premium prices when new are now being rejected by dealerships as trade-ins or valued so low that owners are left owing tens of thousands more than their vehicles are worth. Catastrophic engine failures, transmission collapses, emission systems that cost more to repair than the truck's value. These engineering disasters have transformed popular pickups into financial sinkholes that drain bank accounts and destroy credit scores. Which models have become automotive pariahs? Why have they fallen so hard, so fast? And how can you avoid becoming the next victim of Detroit's most expensive mistakes? I've analyzed depreciation data across every major auction house in America, interviewed senior master technicians with decades of experience, and spoken with dealership managers who revealed, off the record, which trucks they now refuse to accept even at fire sale prices. What they told me will shock you and could save you from the most expensive mistake of your automotive life. 1. GMC Canyon, 2015 to 2019. When midsize trucks began their comeback in the mid-2010s, the GMC Canyon arrived with bold promises of premium refinement in a right-sized package. With sleek styling, upscale interior materials, and the prestige of the GMC badge, it targeted buyers who wanted something more manageable than a full-size truck without sacrificing comfort or capability. Professional grade was more than a slogan. It was a promise that convinced thousands of buyers to choose the Canyon over its competitors, often paying thousands more than they would for the mechanically identical Chevrolet Colorado. For professionals and families alike, it seemed like the perfect balanced choice. Not too big, not too small, with just the right blend of utility and refinement for daily driving and weekend adventures. Fast forward to 2025, and that promise has shattered completely. The Canyon has become the poster child for mid-size truck depreciation, with owners struggling to find buyers at any price. What happened to transform this once desirable truck into something dealerships won't even accept as a trade-in? The transmission nightmare started it all. Instead of delivering the smooth shifts promised in glossy brochures, Canyons from this generation developed a reputation for hard banging between gears, unnerving shuddering at highway speeds, and dangerous hesitation when merging or passing. One owner from Texas described it as feeling like getting rear-ended every time it downshifted. Dealerships initially offered software updates and expensive transmission fluid flushes as fixes, but the problems inevitably returned. By the time warranties expired, owners faced full rebuilds or replacements costing $5,000 to $7,000 on trucks that were rapidly losing value even without these issues. A master technician with 22 years of experience working at GMC dealerships explained the root cause. The valve bodies and torquey converters were fundamentally flawed. No amount of reprogramming could fix the hardware issues. We'd do the updates GM recommended, tell customers it was fixed, and see them back with the same problems 3 months later. The electrical gremlins proved equally destructive to resale value. Infotainment systems would freeze mid-drive, sometimes requiring complete replacement. Backup cameras failed without warning. Dashboard sensors generated false alerts that kept drivers guessing whether warnings were real or just another glitch in the system. Most concerning were the power steering module failures that sometimes left drivers struggling to control their trucks in tight situations. As one Canyon owner from Michigan put it, "I never knew if my truck would cooperate on any given day." That's not what I signed up for when I paid $45,000 for a premium truck. Performance disappointed across the board. The base 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine struggled to move the truck with any authority, while the optional 3.6-liter V6 delivered only marginally better acceleration with worse-than-advertised fuel economy. Owners who attempted towing quickly discovered the Canyon's limitations, often wishing they'd spent the extra money on a full-size pickup. The final insult was the premium pricing. Buyers paid significantly more for the GMC badge compared to the nearly identical Chevrolet Colorado, expecting superior refinement and reliability. Instead, they received the exact same mechanical problems wrapped in slightly better interior materials and more chrome trim. For current owners, the situation is dire. Kelly from Oklahoma shared her experience. My 2017 Canyon needed a new transmission at 62,000 miles. The $7,000 repair bill was more than the dealer offered for the entire truck as a trade-in. I'm trapped in an unreliable vehicle that's worth less than I owe. Have you experienced transmission issues with your Canyon? Drop a comment below and share your story. You might save someone else from making an expensive mistake. And if you think the Canyon situation is bad, wait until you see what's happening with our next entry. A full-size American icon whose legendary status couldn't protect it from one of the most notorious engine disasters in pickup truck history. 2. Ford F-150, 2004 to 2010 with 5.4-liter Triton V8. The Ford F-150 has reigned as America's best-selling vehicle for over 4 decades, a testament to its blend of capability, reliability, and value that generations of buyers have trusted. But during the critical years from 2004 through 2010, Ford made a catastrophic engineering decision that continues to haunt owners even in 2025, the infamous 5.4-liter Triton V8 engine. What should have been the crown jewel of Ford's powertrain lineup instead became a mechanical nightmare that destroyed resale values and left thousands of owners stranded with repair bills exceeding their truck's worth. Today, these trucks sit unwanted on used lots across America, mechanical lepers that informed buyers won't touch at any price. The spark plug problems alone were enough to ruin this engine's reputation. On early versions, the aluminum cylinder heads featured such minimal thread engagement that plugs would literally blow out while driving, taking the threads with them and turning a simple maintenance task into a multi-thousand-dollar head replacement. Ford solved this problem in later years with a design so flawed it created the opposite issue: plugs that fused themselves permanently to the heads, breaking apart when removal was attempted. Specialized tools and extreme patience were required just to perform what should have been basic maintenance. I've been a Ford technician for 27 years, and those 5.4 plugs were the worst design I've ever seen, explains master mechanic Robert Johnson. We charged a minimum of 4 hours labor for a job that should take 45 minutes. Sometimes we'd have to drill out broken plugs and re-tap the heads right on the engine. The timing chain and cam phaser issues proved even more devastating to owners' wallets. The excessively long timing chains would stretch prematurely, causing rough running, check engine lights, and eventually catastrophic engine damage when timing was thrown off enough to allow valves to contact pistons. Replacing the full timing set, a repair needed far earlier than in competing engines, typically cost between $4,000 and $6,000. If valve damage had occurred, that figure could easily double, often exceeding the truck's market value on higher mileage examples. The distinctive death rattle of failing cam phasers became the soundtrack of Triton ownership. "It sounds like a diesel tractor with loose valves," described a former owner from Texas. "Everyone at stoplights stares at you because it sounds like your truck is about to explode, and sometimes it actually does." Oil consumption, coolant leaks, and blown head gaskets added to the litany of issues. Failed fuel pumps and injectors were common enough that many owners carried spare parts on long trips. The ignition coil design virtually guaranteed regular failures, with each replacement costing hundreds of dollars. The greatest betrayal was Ford's decision to continue producing this engine for years despite overwhelming evidence of its flaws. Internal documents revealed through class action lawsuits showed engineers had identified many of these issues during development, but production timelines and cost considerations took precedence over reliability. By 2025, the market has rendered its verdict on the 5.4 Triton F-150s. Auction values have collapsed to the point where clean, low-mileage examples sell for less than rougher trucks, with the more reliable 4.6-liter V8. Many dealerships maintain no-buy lists that specifically exclude these engines regardless of the truck's condition. "I won't touch a 5.4 F-150 at any price," admitted a used car manager at a large independent dealership in Michigan. "It doesn't matter if it has 40,000 miles and looks showroom fresh. The repair risk and customer comeback guarantee isn't worth any potential profit margin." For current owners, the situation often feels hopeless. Mark from Wisconsin described his predicament. "My 2007 F-150 needed $6,000 in engine repairs at 120,000 miles. The truck's only worth $8,000 total. I can't afford to fix it, can't sell it broken, and still owe payments. I'm literally trapped by this truck." If Ford's reputation took a hit from the Triton fiasco, our next entry shows that even Toyota, the brand synonymous with bulletproof reliability, isn't immune to engineering decisions that devastate resale values and leave owners with worthless trucks. 3. Toyota Tundra, 2007 to 2013. For decades, Toyota has built its reputation on producing vehicles that seemingly run forever with minimal maintenance. Their trucks in particular have achieved almost mythical status for reliability, with stories of Tacomas and early Tundras crossing 300,000 miles without major repairs becoming part of automotive folklore. This stellar reputation made the failures of the 2007 through 2013 Tundra all the more shocking. While it may stun Toyota loyalists to see this truck on our list, the reality is that even the most trusted brands occasionally stumble. And when they do, the market punishes them severely. In 2025, these once desirable Tundras have become extremely difficult to sell, with values plummeting far below what their Toyota badges would normally command. The fall from grace has been particularly painful for owners who paid premium prices expecting legendary Toyota dependability, only to discover their trucks carried fatal flaws that the company seemed reluctant to fully address. The air injection pump system was the primary culprit. Designed to reduce emissions during cold starts, these secondary air pumps and their control valves developed a notorious reputation for failure. When they malfunctioned, trucks would enter limp mode, restricting power dramatically and often leaving drivers stranded in dangerous situations. "It's like someone threw an anchor out the window," described former Tundra owner Michael from Colorado. "One minute you're merging onto the highway. The next you're crawling at 30 miles per hour with traffic bearing down on you. No warning, no gradual decline, just sudden power loss." The repair costs proved financially devastating. Replacing the complete air injection system typically ran between $4,000 and $6,000, an extraordinary sum for what was essentially an emissions component not critical to the engine's basic operation. Many owners were shocked to discover that Toyota, the company they trusted for reasonable repair costs, was charging premium prices for these fixes. The massive rear differential presented another expensive failure point. The ring and pinion gears would develop premature wear, creating a distinctive whining noise that grew progressively louder until complete failure occurred. For trucks used in towing, precisely the heavy-duty application many buyers purchased them for, differential failures became common enough that some shops specialized in Tundra rear-end rebuilds. Replacing or rebuilding the differential typically cost between $3,000 and $5,000. For contractors and small business owners who depended on their Tundras for daily work, this represented not just a repair expense but lost income during downtime. Frame rust issues, while less common than on earlier Tacomas that underwent a recall, still plagued many Tundras in northern states. Severe corrosion would develop on frame rails and cross members, raising serious structural and safety concerns. Toyota offered limited assistance to some owners, but many were left with trucks that passed the visual inspection criteria, yet still developed significant rust within years. Fuel economy disappointed across the board. The 5.7-liter V8, while powerful and generally durable, delivered real-world efficiency far below EPA estimates. As fuel prices have risen in recent years, the operating costs of these already troubled trucks have become increasingly burdensome for owners. The combined effect of these issues has decimated resale values. At a Toyota dealership in Seattle, the pre-owned manager explained the situation. "We value these Tundras at 15 to 20% below book value when taking them on trade, and we're still sometimes stuck with them for 60-plus days. Buyers who know about the air pump issues specifically ask for 14 or newer models." The greatest disappointment came from the Toyota name itself. Owners paid significant premiums for what they believed would be trouble-free ownership, only to experience reliability problems that matched or exceeded those of domestic competitors. This perceived betrayal of trust has spread through owner forums and social media, creating a lasting stigma that continues to depress values even as these trucks age. While Toyota's reliability stumble surprised many, our next entry reveals how an engineering experiment designed to save fuel instead created one of the most notorious engine disasters in General Motors history. A problem so widespread that it's nearly impossible to sell affected trucks in 2025 at any price. 4. Chevrolet Silverado 1500, 2007 to 2014 with active fuel management. For generations, the Chevrolet Silverado has symbolized American truck values: hard work, reliability, and straightforward dependability without pretense. Farmers, contractors, and families alike depended on these trucks to handle everything from job site duties to weekend adventures, expecting years of trouble-free service. During the critical period from 2007 through 2014, however, GM implemented a fuel-saving technology that would become infamous among mechanics and owners alike. Active Fuel Management, AFM, later renamed Dynamic Fuel Management. Marketed as an innovative way to improve efficiency by shutting down cylinders during light loads, it instead delivered a legacy of catastrophic engine failures and financial nightmares. In 2025, these particular Silverados have become untouchable in the used market. Even low-mileage, well-maintained examples sell for fractions of their expected value, with informed buyers avoiding them entirely and dealers often refusing them on trade unless the system has been permanently disabled. The heart of the problem lies in the lifter and camshaft interface. The hydraulic lifters designed to deactivate cylinders would collapse prematurely, grinding against cam lobes and creating the telltale rhythmic ticking that owners came to dread. Once this sound appeared, it signaled the beginning of a countdown to major engine damage. When a customer comes in with a ticking GM-V8, I don't even need to open the hood to diagnose it, explains veteran mechanic James Wilson. I just ask them if it has AFM, how many miles, and whether they want the temporary fix or the permanent one. There's no mystery anymore. These engines are fundamentally flawed. As the lifters failed, metal debris would circulate through the engine oil, damaging bearings, journals, and other precision components. What began as a minor tick often escalated to complete engine failure within months if not addressed. The repair costs were staggering. Replacing lifters and camshafts typically ran between $3,000 and $7,000. If the damage had spread throughout the engine, complete replacements could exceed $15,000. For families who depended on their Silverados for daily transportation, these unexpected repair bills often created genuine financial crises. Many owners reported having to choose between fixing their trucks and making mortgage payments or funding their children's education. Oil consumption compounded the problems. The AFM system created conditions where oil could slip past piston rings, especially in cylinders that were frequently deactivated. Many owners reported having to add a quart of oil every 1,000 miles just to keep their engines from running dangerously low, an expensive and inconvenient maintenance burden that further damaged resale values. GM's response proved particularly frustrating for loyal customers. Rather than addressing the root design flaws, the company issued a series of software updates, oil deflector shields, and revised recommendations that rarely solved the underlying issues. Warranty claims were often denied based on maintenance history or classified as normal operation, despite obvious mechanical failures. The betrayal cut especially deep because the Silverado had built its reputation on reliability and longevity. Generations of families had remained loyal to Chevrolet trucks based on positive experiences with previous models. Instead, they found themselves owning vehicles that required constant monitoring and faced near-certain major repairs once warranties expired. Today's used market reflects this troubled history. At major dealerships across America, AFM-equipped Silverados from these years typically sell for 20 to 30% less than comparable Ford or Ram models of similar age and mileage. Many dealers send them directly to auction rather than retail them to customers, unwilling to risk their reputation on trucks with such problematic histories. The only salvation for many owners has been aftermarket AFM delete kits, which permanently disable the cylinder deactivation system and replace the problematic components with traditional parts. While this modification can restore reliability, it typically costs $2,000 to $3,000, reduces fuel economy, and can create warranty complications for trucks still under coverage. And if Silverado owners felt betrayed by paying for trucks with these inherent flaws, imagine how GMC Sierra buyers felt, paying premium prices for the exact same problematic engines wrapped in fancier packaging. Our next entry shows how professional grade became professional pain for thousands of disappointed owners. 5. GMC Sierra 1500, 2007 to 2014 with active fuel management. Some trucks earned their reputation through decades of exceptional service. Others destroy their credibility by betraying the very customers who trusted them most. The GMC Sierra 1500 produced between 2007 and 2014 falls squarely into the latter category, a premium-priced disappointment that has become virtually worthless in the 2025 used market. Marketed as the sophisticated, upscale alternative to the Chevrolet Silverado, the Sierra promised buyers enhanced comfort, superior materials, and a more refined ownership experience. The professional-grade slogan suggested engineering excellence that justified the thousands of dollars in premium pricing over its mechanical twin from Chevrolet. Beneath the chrome trim, leather upholstery, and upscale badging, however, lurked the identical active fuel management system that was simultaneously destroying Silverado engines across America. The lifter failures, camshaft damage, and oil consumption issues affected Sierras at exactly the same rate as their less expensive cousins, but the financial impact and sense of betrayal were often magnified for owners who had paid significantly more for what they believed was a superior product. I deliberately chose the Sierra Denali over the Silverado High Country because I wanted the best GM had to offer, explains former owner Robert from Pennsylvania. I paid nearly $60,000 in 2012 only to need a complete engine rebuild at 87,000 miles. The dealership quoted me $14,000 and acted like this was just normal wear and tear. The psychological toll on Sierra owners proved particularly heavy. Trucks that had once been sources of pride became sources of anxiety as owners constantly monitored for the distinctive ticking sound that signaled impending failure. Many reported checking oil levels obsessively, carrying extra quarts in their trucks at all times, and listening intently to their engines at every stoplight. Oil consumption reached alarming levels in many Sierras. A significant number of owners reported burning a quart every 1,000 miles or less, far outside what could be considered normal for a modern engine. This constant need for oil additions not only created additional expense and inconvenience, but often resulted in engines running dangerously low on oil when owners didn't check frequently enough. GM's Band-Aid solutions proved equally ineffective on Sierras as on Silverados. Software updates, oil deflector installations, and revised maintenance recommendations might temporarily quiet the symptoms, but the fundamental design flaws remained unaddressed. By the time warranties expired, many owners found themselves facing repair estimates that approached or exceeded their truck's remaining value. The market punishment has been particularly severe for Sierra models. While all GM trucks from this era with AFM have suffered significant depreciation, the Sierra's higher initial cost created steeper percentage losses. Denali models, which often approached luxury car prices when new, have experienced some of the most dramatic value collapses in modern automotive history. We see Denalis from these years lose 50 to 60% of their value when the AFM system fails, explains used car appraiser Thomas Reynolds. A truck that might otherwise be worth $30,000 drops to $15,000 overnight once that ticking starts. It's one of the most precipitous value cliffs in the industry. Today's dealership environment reflects this reality. At a GMC dealership in Illinois, the trade-in manager admitted their policy. We immediately deduct $5,000 from book value on any 7 through 14 Sierra with the 5.3 or 6.2 V8, even if it's not ticking yet. If it is ticking, we generally won't make an offer at all unless the customer is buying a new truck from us. The only reliable solution has been aftermarket AFM delete kits, which permanently disable the cylinder deactivation system. While effective at preventing future failures, these modifications typically cost between $2,000 and $3,000, a significant expense that doesn't increase the truck's value proportionally in the eyes of potential buyers. While GM's active fuel management disasters affected hundreds of thousands of trucks, our next entry shows how an ambitious experiment with diesel technology created one of the most dramatic value collapses in pickup truck history. 6. Nissan Titan XD Diesel, 2016 to 2019. Sometimes automotive innovations fail gradually. Other times, they crash spectacularly. The Nissan Titan XD Diesel falls firmly into the latter category, an ambitious experiment that looked promising on paper but became one of the most rapidly depreciating trucks in modern history. Introduced for 2016, the Titan XD represented Nissan's attempt to carve out a unique position in the American truck market. By pairing their heavy-duty, light-duty hybrid platform with the legendary Cummins brand, specifically a 5.0-liter V8 turbo diesel, Nissan hoped to create the perfect middle ground between half-ton comfort and heavy-duty capability. Marketing materials promised the best of both worlds, the refinement and daily drivability of a light-duty pickup combined with near heavy-duty towing and hauling capabilities. The Cummins name, revered among truck enthusiasts for its association with durability and longevity, seemed to guarantee long-term value and reliability. By 2025, these trucks have instead become cautionary tales and financial disasters for their owners. Dealerships across America routinely refuse them on trade-in, values have collapsed to pennies on the dollar, and a dedicated community of disappointed owners shares repair stories that would make any potential buyer flee in terror. The emission system failures created the most immediate and expensive problems. Adapting European-style diesel technology to American driving patterns and regulations proved disastrous. Exhaust gas recirculation, EGR valves clogged rapidly. Diesel particulate filters, DPF, became hopelessly compromised. Diesel exhaust fluid, DEF systems malfunctioned with alarming regularity. When these systems failed, and they failed frequently, the trucks would enter a severely restricted performance mode, often limiting speeds to 45 miles per hour or less, regardless of the driving situation. Owners reported being stranded on highways, unable to maintain safe speeds, creating genuinely dangerous situations for themselves and others. I was driving through Montana when my Titan went into limp mode without warning, recalls former owner Jason. I went from 75 miles per hour to barely 40 on an interstate with a 55 minimum speed. Semis were bearing down on me, I couldn't accelerate, and the nearest dealership was 200 miles away. It was terrifying. The repair costs proved financially devastating. A complete emission system overhaul typically ran between $8,000 and $12,000, often approaching 40% of the truck's original purchase price. Many owners face these massive bills multiple times within the first 100,000 miles, completely erasing any operating cost advantages the diesel might have offered. Turbocharger failures added another layer of financial pain. Reports of turbos failing catastrophically before 80,000 miles became commonplace. When a turbo self-destructed, metal fragments would often travel through the intake and exhaust systems, causing collateral damage to intercoolers, sensors, and catalytic components. A single turbocharger replacement with associated repairs could easily reach $6,000 to $8,000. Combined with the emission system issues, some unfortunate owners reported total repair bills exceeding $20,000 on trucks barely 5 years old. The specialized nature of the Cummins diesel created additional headaches. Parts availability became increasingly limited, especially after Nissan discontinued the engine after only 3 model years. Labor times for even routine maintenance far exceeded industry norms, as technicians struggled with the engine's complex packaging and limited access points. The final nail in the coffin came when Nissan abruptly ended their partnership with Cummins after the 2019 model year, effectively orphaning these trucks without factory support for their most critical component. This move sent resale values into freefall as potential buyers recognized the long-term parts and service implications. Today's market reflects this perfect storm of problems. At a multi-brand dealership in Texas, the used truck manager was brutally honest. "We won't take Titan XD diesels on trade at any price. Period. They're impossible to retail, and even wholesalers don't want them. I've seen clean, low-mileage examples sell at auction for less than 20 cents on the dollar compared to their original MSRP. For current owners, the situation is dire. Many owe far more on their loans than their trucks are worth, creating a financial trap with no easy escape. Forums dedicated to these vehicles are filled with stories of owners simply surrendering their trucks to lenders, accepting the credit damage rather than continuing to pour money into unsellable vehicles. If the Titan XD represents an ambitious failure in the heavy-duty space, our next entry shows that even smaller trucks can become financial disasters when diesel technology meets cost-cutting engineering. 7. Chevrolet Colorado Diesel, 2016 to 2022. When Chevrolet reintroduced the Colorado in 2015, it represented a calculated bet that American buyers were ready to embrace midsize trucks again after years of market dominance by full-size pickups. The addition of a 2.8-liter Duramax turbo diesel engine for the 2016 model year seemed like a masterstroke, offering buyers exceptional torque, impressive towing capability, and fuel efficiency that no gasoline truck could match. On paper, the Colorado diesel offered an irresistible combination: 30 miles per gallon highway, 7,700 pounds of towing capacity, and the prestige of the Duramax name in a maneuverable, right-sized package. Buyers lined up, often paying thousands over sticker price during the initial release, believing they were getting the perfect blend of efficiency and capability. Fast forward to 2025, and these once desirable trucks have become radioactive in the used market. Dealers routinely refuse them as trade-ins or offer values so low that owners are left in shock. Private sales often drag on for months with no serious offers, regardless of how low the asking price drops. The primary culprit, as with many modern diesels, was the emissions control system. The diesel particulate filter, DPF, exhaust gas recirculation, EGR valve, and diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, injection systems proved woefully inadequate for real-world American driving conditions. These components failed with such regularity that many owners simply came to expect major repairs every 40 to 60,000 miles. When these systems malfunctioned, the consequences were severe. Trucks would enter limp mode, restricting power and speed dramatically. Many owners reported being stranded in dangerous situations, unable to maintain highway speeds, climb modest grades, or even accelerate through busy intersections. The financial impact was devastating. Complete emission system replacements typically cost between $8,000 and $10,000, a staggering sum for mid-sized truck owners who had often chosen the Colorado specifically for its affordability compared to full-size alternatives. For many, a single major repair bill exceeded 20% of their truck's remaining value. I bought my Colorado diesel to save money on fuel while still having decent towing capacity, explains former owner Michael from Arizona. After spending $9,000 on emissions repairs at 58,000 miles, I calculated that I would have been better off buying a V8 Silverado and paying for the extra fuel. The efficiency advantage was a complete illusion once repair costs entered the equation. Beyond the crippling repair expenses, owners complained about the driving experience itself. The diesel Colorado exhibited significant turbo lag, making city driving and quick merging maneuvers frustrating. Noise and vibration levels exceeded expectations, particularly at idle and low speeds. The promised refinement of a modern diesel often failed to materialize in daily operation. Turbocharger issues created another expensive failure point. Many owners reported turbo problems before reaching 100,000 miles, with symptoms ranging from power loss to ominous whistling noises to catastrophic failure that left them stranded. Replacement turbos with installation typically cost between $4,000 and $6,000, often more if collateral damage had occurred. The sensor array controlling the emissions and engine management systems proved equally problematic. Nitrogen oxide sensors, DEF quality sensors, and various pressure monitors would fail regularly, each costing $1,000 to $2,000 to replace. When these sensors malfunctioned, the trucks would often enter reduced power modes until repairs were completed. Perhaps most frustrating was that the fuel economy advantage, the primary selling point for many buyers, often disappeared as the trucks aged. Clogged emission systems, carbon buildup, and general wear would gradually reduce efficiency until many owners reported numbers barely better than comparable gasoline engines. By 2025, the market has rendered its verdict on the Colorado diesel. At a Chevrolet dealership in Nevada, the used truck manager didn't mince words. We value them at 60 cents on the dollar compared to gas models with equivalent equipment and mileage. Even at that discount, they sit on our lot 3 times longer than gas Colorados. Most dealers won't even stock them anymore. For current owners, the situation feels hopeless. Many owe thousands more than their trucks are worth, creating a financial trap with no easy escape. Some have resorted to expensive aftermarket modifications to delete or bypass emissions equipment, improvements that may enhance reliability but further reduce already collapsed resale values due to legal and warranty implications. Before we reveal our number one worthless truck of 2025, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. I post vehicle market analyses regularly, and missing them could mean buying a depreciating disaster that destroys your finances. Subscribe now, stay informed, and protect your automotive investment. 8. Ram 1500 EcoDiesel, 2014 to 2019. In the early 20-teens, Ram made what seemed like a revolutionary move in the full-size truck market. The Ram 1500 EcoDiesel promised something no competitor offered: the torque and capability of diesel power combined with fuel economy that could rival many family sedans. With advertised highway ratings approaching 30 miles per gallon and a driving range exceeding 700 miles per tank, it appeared to solve the efficiency challenges that had long plagued full-size trucks. Marketing materials painted a compelling picture: European diesel sophistication meeting American truck capability. Buyers could enjoy the legendary torque of diesel power while spending significantly less at the pump. For contractors, outdoor enthusiasts, and everyday drivers alike, the EcoDiesel seemed to offer the perfect balance of performance, efficiency, and value. By 2025, the EcoDiesel experiment has collapsed spectacularly. These trucks have experienced one of the most dramatic value implosions in modern automotive history, with clean, low-mileage examples often selling for less than 30% of their original MSRP. Dealerships across America now routinely reject them as trade-ins or offer value so low that owners are left owing thousands more than their trucks are worth. The 3.0-liter V6 diesel engine, sourced through Fiat Chrysler's partnership with Italian supplier VM Motori, became the epicenter of problems. While the engine delivered impressive specifications on paper, 420 pound-feet of torque in a relatively lightweight package, it proved catastrophically unreliable in real-world American driving conditions. Timing chain failures became so common that many owners began to view them as scheduled maintenance rather than unexpected breakdowns. The chains would stretch prematurely, causing rough running, check engine lights, and eventually complete engine failure if not addressed. Replacement typically cost $3,000 to $5,000, assuming no additional damage had occurred. Oil cooler leaks plagued the system, often allowing coolant to mix with engine oil, a deadly combination that could destroy the engine if not caught immediately. Bearing failures occurred with alarming frequency, sometimes with so little warning that owners had no chance to take preventive action before catastrophic damage occurred. Complete engine replacements were distressingly common. With costs regularly exceeding $15,000, many owners faced repair bills that approached or exceeded their truck's remaining value. For those still making payments, the financial math became impossible, continuing to pay for essentially worthless vehicles or accepting massive losses to escape the situation. The emission system created another layer of expensive problems. Diesel particulate filters clogged prematurely, EGR valves failed, and DEF systems malfunctioned regularly. When these components broke, the trucks would enter limp mode, often restricting speeds to 45 miles per hour or less, regardless of driving conditions, creating genuinely dangerous situations on highways and interstates. Emission system repairs routinely cost between $8,000 and $12,000, an extraordinary sum that completely erased any operating cost advantages the diesel might have offered over its gasoline counterparts. Many owners faced these expenses multiple times during their ownership period, creating financial burdens that could approach $20,000 in repair costs alone. The legal issues surrounding the EcoDiesel further damaged its reputation and resale value. Government investigations revealed that the engines used software that altered emissions controls during testing, allowing them to show better results than they delivered in real-world driving. The resulting settlements and required modifications often reduced power and efficiency, the very attributes that had attracted buyers in the first place. By 2025, the market reaction has been severe and unforgiving. At a Ram dealership in Florida, the trade-in manager explained their policy. "We automatically deduct 40% from book value on EcoDiesels, regardless of condition or mileage. If they've had any major repairs or show any warning signs, we typically decline the trade entirely. The liability and remarketing challenges aren't worth the potential profit." For current owners, the situation is dire. Online forums dedicated to these trucks are filled with heartbreaking stories of financial ruin. Owners report being underwater on loans by $15,000 or more. unable to trade in or sell privately for amounts that would cover their remaining balances. Many have simply surrendered their vehicles to lenders, accepting the credit damage as preferable to continuing to pour money into fundamentally flawed trucks. I bought my eco-diesel believing I was making a smart, forward-thinking choice, explains former owner Rebecca from Colorado. 3 years and $22,000 in repairs later, I finally gave up and let the bank take it. My credit is destroyed, but at least I'm not throwing good money after bad anymore. The Ram 1500 EcoDiesel serves as the ultimate cautionary tale of how impressive specifications and marketing promises can lead to financial disaster when engineering fundamentals are compromised. Its complete market collapse has created a generation of buyers who view diesel technology with deep skepticism, a dramatic reversal from the enthusiasm that greeted these trucks when new. Why this is happening and what it means for you. The unprecedented collapse in pickup truck values we're witnessing in 2025 stems from multiple converging factors. A perfect storm that has transformed trucks that once commanded premium prices into nearly worthless liabilities. First, engineering compromises made to meet emissions and fuel economy regulations have created fundamental reliability issues, particularly in diesel and cylinder deactivation technologies. The complex systems designed to make trucks cleaner and more efficient have instead become expensive failure points that often cost more to repair than the vehicles are worth. Second, the information age has permanently changed how vehicle problems are reported and shared. Issues that might have remained isolated, complaints in previous decades now spread instantly through online forums, social media, and video platforms. Reputation damage that once took years to develop now occurs in months or even weeks. Third, rising repair costs have created a financial breaking point where fixing major problems simply doesn't make economic sense. When a 7-year-old truck needs a $15,000 repair but is only worth $25,000 in perfect condition, many owners simply abandon the vehicle or sell it for scrap value rather than investing in proper repairs. Fourth, lenders have become increasingly aware of these reliability trends and adjusted loan terms accordingly. Trucks with known issues receive shorter finance terms and higher interest rates, accelerating depreciation and creating situations where owners remain underwater on loans for most of their ownership period. For consumers, this new reality demands a complete rethinking of truck purchasing strategy. Research has never been more critical. Before considering any used truck, thoroughly investigate its specific model year, engine, and transmission combination. General brand reputation is far less important than the reliability history of specific components in specific years. Budget for the worst-case scenario, not the best. When financing a used truck, ensure you can afford major repairs within the first year of ownership, even if the vehicle appears to be in perfect condition. The days of buying a truck and expecting trouble-free operation for years are largely over for many models. Consider pre-purchase inspections mandatory, not optional. Having a qualified mechanic thoroughly evaluate any used truck before purchase can save tens of thousands in unexpected repairs. The few $100s spent on inspection is the best insurance against buying someone else's mechanical nightmare. Don't overextend on modifications or accessories. The market assigns very little value to aftermarket wheels, lift kits, or performance upgrades on trucks with questionable reliability. Focus your budget on mechanical soundness first, appearance upgrades last. For current owners of these problematic trucks, difficult decisions lie ahead. If your truck is still running properly but appears on this list, consider selling while you can. Waiting until problems develop often means the difference between taking a small loss and facing financial catastrophe. If you're already experiencing issues, calculate the total cost of ownership realistically. In many cases, accepting a significant loss on your current truck and switching to a more reliable model makes more financial sense than continuing to repair a fundamentally flawed vehicle. If you're underwater on your loan but facing major repairs, consult with a financial advisor before making decisions. In some cases, loan consolidation or refinancing may provide a path forward that's less damaging than vehicle surrender or repossession. The trucks on this list represent some of the most dramatic value collapses in automotive history. Their stories serve as powerful reminders that impressive specifications, aggressive marketing, and even traditionally strong brand reputations provide no guarantee of long-term value or reliability. By understanding which models to avoid and why they've fallen so dramatically, you can protect yourself from becoming the next victim of Detroit's most expensive engineering mistakes. You've just seen the 8 pickup trucks that have become virtually worthless in 2025. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our market analyses. Next week, we'll cover the most reliable used trucks that actually hold their value. The model smart buyers should target instead of these financial disasters. Drop a comment below telling me which truck surprised you most and share your own experience if you've owned one of these depreciating nightmares. Your story could save someone else from making a costly mistake.